I was really shocked to hear that, because His Excellency the President knows that the power he's holding is not his. It's for the people, particularly the voters. And the people voted and gave him that power. Once they vote you out, he even is ending his 8 years period. At the 6th of January 2025, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has no such power. He knows. Really? He has no such power. So it's just an empty boast. Brutum fulmin. He cannot. He will not have that power. It's the person that the people have now voted for that have been given the power. The Ghanaian voter can no longer be intimidated. We saw what happened in Kenya. We saw what happened in Nigeria. Ghana is not immune to it. I was a young man in Legon during the regime of President General Akia Champon. And that was the time they brought in the MOWACs to support the police. They were blue in color. We faced the MOWACs with our bodies, not even with sticks, empty hands. Some of us were killed, but we fought and managed to turn this country to democratic Ghana. The people are not afraid of the military. How many are they in this country? How many are the people? How many bullets do they have? How many were they killed? How many of them will survive? We've seen it before from country to country. So if there's any intention of using the military to threaten and intimidate the voter, they better think twice.
Speaker Abansman Bagbin akasa na mpanimfoɔ se opam ohufo a oto ne bima. President Akufo-Addo apam Abansman Bagbin se de wato ne bima. Na nsuo so tai aponkyerene a ojewo. Inti Speaker Abansman Bagbin se de atai no wajewo. Na wa blast President Akufo-Addo a downgrade no. In fact, na minim se sa Speaker Abansman Bagbin na no yasa. Ose de eha no ene se ye ka experienced and matured politicians in Ghana na Addo Akufo-Addo eka ho bi. Na eba ne sen na ne ye ne nisu ne de ban enkyere se. In fact, or matured and experienced politicians. Enya me na meka yo, Speaker, ye bekwa kotie no. Na ose na Addo na kasa unim se tumi na ekura no enye ne de. Yes. Speaker Abansman Bagbin, ose politicians tumi a ekura won no enye won de. Na Addo kura no kwata by 6th of January 2025 na onyu bia ukurum ha. Hey, Speaker. Na me se brofo Speaker use this describe na Addo Akufo-Addo no. Wo de wanka so bekwa akwati bi. Na ubehu se yes, nsu taya ponkyerene a ojewo ampa. Na anso ho awo wasanso the warning kese a title say 2024 elections no very crucial. Ghana first. Intima na Addo try say obe use military and also obe use force and obe use any means say oberege the 2024 elections. And if Addo dares, the will of the people, the power of the people, the Ghanaians, the youth, yem fatu, yem fajan, ye de honam, and ebe kwanje Ghana. Na ono kasa use an example, bra na ono so ye student, how they fought for the people's will. I was here, Abansman Bagbin, akamakuma swasem. Na utie interviewer, ne nsema Abansman Bagbin kan ye, ne nsema daba bia meka. Indeed, ubeka se ampa. Mentena we are for Ken, enkasa kwa. Na nsem bia meka bia so no, no kretrudo. Idie kwanso, subscribe to We Are For Ken TV, share the link, and let's promote the unity, and let's build the Ghana that we all want. Se wo America ha, na opese wo tofia, contact We Are For Ken TV. Very simple. Usika na wo de rent no, ubetimi de atofie a ifie ne ye wo de. Na ye bema key bia. In fact, umpo unhu se utuya ifie no ka. Se wo Ghana anase different country na opese wo tofie wo America ha. contact yen we are for Ken TV. Even say uni Ghana, une American visa, na auto fee wa America ha, enumpo betumi a guarantee amwaba be citizen in America here. Very simple cry. Or the free we are for Ken TV. Na ye know income.
Nothing happened until recently that the Peace Council came in. And the Peace Council came in also through the back door. He didn't do it properly.
So Edin Kwacha was right?
100%. He was 100%, and that has now ignited this flood of concern by many. And so you see, apart from me coming out to say that no, something must be done, the Peace Council then initiated some efforts, and their attention was drawn to the fact that since the 2020 elections, since the Ayawasu by-elections, a number of things happened. Commissions were established, reports were presented, recommendations were made. There were some statements that they will be implemented, and nothing has happened. So now we are moving to another. This time, the 2024 elections is unlike the 1992 elections, or the 1996, or the 2000 elections.
Why do you say that?
It's not also like the 2004, 2008, or 2012 elections.
Why?
Neither is it like the 2016 and 2020. This is a critical election that will determine whether we are truly committed to the cause of multi-party constitutional democracy. Clearly, this election is not just about the political parties. It's about the soul of our nation. Very, very important. And so to have very experienced political leaders, particularly His Excellency the President, who started politics at a very early age because of his parenthood, and who was an activist in the CPP party, grew up to be the president of Kwame Nkrumah Youth Forum, and after the 1966 election, joined the United Party, Progress Party, now MPP, to come out after all that experience, a legal luminary, to say such a thing, that is inciting people to violence.
Okay.
That even if we lost the election, we will not hand over. We will do all we can to hold on to power. That is unacceptable. I was really shocked to hear that, because His Excellency the President knows that the power he's holding is not his. It's for the people, particularly the voters. And the people voted and gave him that power. Once they vote you out, he even is ending his 8 years period. At the 6th of January 2025, His Excellency Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has no such power. He knows that if he orders the CDS on the 7th of January 1990 to do anything, he will not do it.
My understanding of what you're saying, really...
He has no such power, so it's just an empty boast. Brutum fulmin. He cannot. He will not have that power. It's the person that the people have now voted for that have been given the power. And though the people looking at that person, not him. So either is His Excellency John Dramani Mahama or His Excellency Dr.
Mahmoud Bawumia.
Mahmoud Bawumia.
You do not think
so
that...
those are the people that will have power, and those are the people that Ghanaians will now be listening to, not to him. So he has nothing, not even an empty shell. What we do is just a ceremony to show that power has now shifted from the former to the newly elected person.
You do not think that those comments were deep expressions of, I really wish that Bawumia would take over the reins of power from me?
You just said it. What prevented him from using that same language? It's my wish that MPP should win the elections and Baumia will take over from me. But if you go and say categorically, I will not hand over power, as if the power is still in your hands. But by that time, it's not in his hands.
You just gave his history there, where he started from before he even became president.
Yeah.
Would you say that that comment was irresponsible, and he's repeated it?
Well, His Excellency knows better. You know, in mature democracies, they will take actions more than what we will do. That would have soiled all his records as a politician, you know, and all those descriptions people make of him in terms of law and the defense of human rights or the media, and also his record as a president. This cancels out all. It doesn't show that he's a Democrat and that he believes in multi-party democracy.
If I hear what you're saying, you were disappointed when you heard that.
Very, in fact, I was shocked. Was at least expected His Excellency to say such a thing.
But in addition to that, you just brought to the fore again a statement made by Brian Champon, and he's repeated it. He's a member of parliament, a parliament you oversee. Have you done anything about it? How do you see that, first of all?
Brian Champon is scarcely in parliament. You see, that is another thing that we have to do. You see, political leadership is a different ball game. You just don't trust untried and untested hands straight from birth into leadership position.
How do you
They
mean?
have to be groomed. They have to be tutored. They have to be mentored. They have to grow to it. They must have hands-on experience. And so the system we are running is a system that is damaging the growth of this country.
Brian doesn't
Where
have the
people-
experience.
Where? In politics? Zero. He just elected as a member of parliament and is made a cabinet minister. He has no knowledge about the public sector, about governance, about politics, and he is now going to lead the whole sector. He has never handled such power before, and therefore they think that they are the alpha and the omega.
So you think that's what's
That is
influencing how
what-
he's behaving?
Not only him, a number of our people in politics now. You know, as they grow, they will learn that what they did were wrong. And they were really undermining their own authority and relevance.
Won't it be too late?
Very late. And that's one of the causes of our underdevelopment. Many countries who have made it have taken the time to evolve. And the evolution is not only about systems, it's also about human beings. And so we just don't take those decisions lightly. That you're given the opportunity to lead the country. If you want to bring up, definitely there's growth, there's replacement. We must always go with the youth. We must go with everybody. But you give them the position to grow. Okay? Once we keep on just cutting corners and doing what is happening now, we can never develop as a nation.
We can never develop as a nation, you say. We are talking about inflammatory comments and language ahead of this year's general election. And I know that you also heard the bit said by the former president, John Mahama, who is leading the opposition NDC, when he said, and he said it a number of times as well, that we will make sure that this election is not stolen, and this time we are not going to court. How did you understand this comment?
The first part deals with vigilance and ensuring that the right thing is done. That this time around, what happened in 2020, where brute force was used at some stations to take away the decision of the people, we will not allow that to happen again. Which meant that there's a loss of trust in the process and in the Electoral Commission. And so if the Electoral Commission is not going to take up the mantle together with the other stakeholders, particularly the security agencies, led by the Ghana Police Service. And note, it is not Ghana Police Force. It is Ghana Police Service. And they are to deal with the maintenance of law and order. And you don't just maintain law and order by force. No, that is not it. But unfortunately, that is where we are. And they are the key institution to maintain law and order. The military has no business, when we are doing elections, to be present until law and order breaks down and they are called in.
So you want them to stay off?
Completely. I have stated it a number of times that we would not want to see our military moving around. They have to be at positions that they could be called to intervene when the need arises.
But already you know that the military have been deployed. I mean, officials have been deployed to border towns to enforce even this ban on exportation of the country's grains because of the drought in 7 regions of the country.
That is catastrophic and a complete exaggeration of the situation, just to create a platform to go in for a facility. And who knows how that facility will be applied. That is my honest view.
What do you mean by facility?
A credit facility in terms of money or in terms of food items. Is that kind of thing?
The NDC thinks it's an attempt to intimidate voters around that place.
You see, people really don't understand the situation we are in. The Ghanaian voter can no longer be intimidated. We saw what happened in Kenya. We saw what happened in Nigeria. Ghana is not immune to it. I was a young man in Legon during the regime of President General Ake Achampong. And that was the time they brought in the MOWACs to support the police. They were blue in color. We faced the MOWACs with our bodies, not even with sticks, empty hands. Some of us were killed, but we fought and managed to turn this country to democratic Ghana. The people are not afraid of the military. How many are they in this country? How many are the people? How many bullets do they have? How many were they killed? How many of them will survive? We've seen it before from country to country. So if there's any intention of using the military to threaten and intimidate the voter, they better think twice.
Whenever the will of the people is delayed or denied, there will be violence here and there. Not that the people will it, but the accumulated grievances erupt like a volcanic fury. Nsema Speaker Bagbin aka nyinaa a vindicate me political analysis a abrane abre nyinaa meye na ene me make any reaction na mbom enkomodie bi ekoso between the NPP and then the NDC MPs. Yenko na yenkonkotie.
A student of parliament who cherishes parliamentary research, I have been looking at the parliamentary history, instances where we have had an activation of Article 97, where MPs have either cross-carpeted or have resigned. And I have some Hansards here, and pardon me, some of these Hansards look
older than you.
Quite antique. So this is the Hansard of Wednesday, 26 March 2003. And this Hansard from column 2979.
The date again?
26 March 2003.
Oh, okay.
26 March 2003. Column 2979. You have the first deputy speaker speaking. It says, honorable members, that will bring us to the end of statement time. Before we go on, honorable members, there is a communication from a member of parliament to the speaker, and I am bound, therefore, to let you know. The letter is from the Honorable Abraham Kofi Asante. And the letter, dated 26 March 2003, that same day, has the heading, Dear Mr. Speaker, resignation from office as Member of Parliament for Amenfi West constituency. It's a simple letter which says, I write to indicate my resignation as Member of Parliament for Amenfi West constituency. I've taken this decision for personal reasons. I thank you and the entire leadership, members, staff, and the press for the very cordial working relationship during the period we worked together. Signed, yours faithfully, Abraham Kofi Asante. You know what is interesting about this? You read this Hansard, the speaker declares the seat vacant, and that same day, they move on to transact important business in the national interest. There was no pandemonium. Parliament didn't come to a halt. There was no name calling, no fisticuffs. Nobody went to the Supreme Court. You have here, if you come to column 2980, the first deputy speaker says, immediately after he read the resignation, he said, we now go on to question time. The Honorable Minister for Energy is here with us to answer a few questions. The first question stands in the name of the Honorable Member for Afram Plains South, Mr. Kwachi Addo. So, Honorable Albert Kandapa, take your seat. And immediately, they go into addressing important national issues. This is in 2003. I have another Hansard here. 2nd March 2006. The Speaker allowed Professor A. Wayoseni, then the NDC MP for Tamale Central, to make a statement. When you read from column 1208 all the way to column 1211 of the Hansard of 2nd March 2006, Professor Wayoseni makes his statement, and this is how he concludes. Mr. Speaker, I will now perform the simple task of crossing the carpet to my mother party. Remember, he had come from the MPP, defected to NDC, and so he said he was going back. I will now perform the simple task of crossing the carpet to my mother party. Thank you for the attention. Yeah. That same day, if you read the Hansard, sitting was not suspended, there was no adjournment, nobody went to the Supreme Court, Speaker declares the seat vacant, as required under Article 97. And that same day, if you read the Hansard, from column 1215, Parliament approved a $50 million loan between the government of Ghana and SNIT. Then you had a $25 million loan approved that same day. Then you had motions on the District Assembly Common Fund for 2006, which was approved. They continue with business. Why have I taken the time to go through all of this? Cross-carpeting, resignation, MPs shifting positions under Article 97 of the Constitution is not new. Anytime it has happened, speakers have ruled. The seat is declared vacant. Parliament goes on with the serious business of
but is it the same
building
as what's happened today? Or what's happening today? Is it the same?
I submit strongly, Annie, that what is happening today, if Speaker Bagbin's ruling did not have an effect on who will become majority or minority, this will not have happened. The hypocrisy and the double standards of our politics. What is happening today is simply because after the declaration of these vacancies, 3-1, MPP, NDC respectively, which changes the balance. Take it from me. If it was the other way around, 3 on the side of the NDC, 1 on the side of the MPP, Speaker Bagbin would be hailed to the high heavens. If it had nothing to do with Afenyo Makin's position as majority leader, if it did not affect the MPP. And you see, all of this fight over majority, it's about what you do with it. How was that majority? MPP has been claiming to be majority for the past 8 years. What has been the impact? Hardship, anguish, pain, corruption, state capture, plutocracy. That's what they've been doing with the majority. So really, it's about the impact. How that majority reflects in the welfare of the people, builds our country, makes us progress to the next level. That is what matters. So I submit strongly that looking at our history, anytime there's been carpet crossing, people have moved, whether from one party to the other, or independent or whatever, the seats have been declared vacant. Same day, there's no uproar, there's no upheaval. We continue with business. And you see the irony of this whole situation. You remember the big fight of January 6th, the midnight, and all the drama and the maneuvering, which led to the election of Speaker Bagbin. The next fight that was to ensue was who really will sit on the right-hand side of the Speaker, who will be declared majority. It was 137, as you know, after the 2020 EC declaration, with 1 independent. It is this same Speaker Bagbin who ruled and said, MPP, you are majority. I have received a letter from the independent MP who says he wants to caucus with you, he wants to work with you, and ruled. There were many people even on our side. And you know, statesmen like Comrade Kwesi Pratt up to today insists he doesn't agree with it, that there was no majority in this parliament. But we've all lived with it. They hailed Speaker Bagbin. They hailed him because it favored them then. So what has changed? So you go through all the history, all these hazards. Same. Last week I read a Professor Okwe one, is here. Same, 7th November 2020. Same principle, speakers. From Alajete, DF Anand, Regina Sechi Hughes, Professor Michael Okwe, to Speaker Bagbin. Same principle. What has changed? Why is it that now we are having all of this unprincipled gymnastics, wasting everybody's time? When, as we speak, the LI we have been compelled to present, this private members bill, our forests are under attack. And let me come to that. Everybody in civil society, every Ghanaian is worried. The youth just held series of demonstrations about the state of our environment, the mass murder which is going on. To avert a nationwide strike, an industrial shutdown, the president assured organized labor that they would take steps to repeal LI 2462, which you do recall was one of the key demands of organized labor. We had thought that the first day we go to parliament, the executive, the government, will bring action showing that they are going to repeal LI 2462, particularly that offending part which relates to mining in forests.
But it was not part of the list we have seen.
Yes, so far.
Part of the urgent.
No sense of urgency. Look at in the past, when people have resigned, seats have been declared vacant, they move immediately to serious business. I am so appalled, I am so disappointed that just because of majority, you can be in minority and still do government business. Really, it's about the impact you make. It's not about your title or your positions or which side of the speaker you are sitting on. It's become a circus. Okay. So the three of us have initiated this action, seeing that there's really all what the Akufo-Addo government is interested in is on which side of parliament it sits, not the business that we conduct in parliament. They just want to be majority. That's all they're interested in. So we have taken the initiative and we have submitted this memo, and that is under our standing orders, the new standing orders. What you do to initiate a private member's bill, you send a memo to the clerk of parliament. So let me clarify, we are not calling for a recall.
Okay.
What we have done is to initiate
Let me
steps.
ask you.
So we've submitted this to the clerk of parliament.
Question. Is it wrong
Yeah.
to join the side of the house that's trying to trigger the recall and add this demand to the list of the urgent issues they want to address? Is it wrong?
Look, what we should be doing now, if we had maturity, we had love for country, we have statesmanship at play, the Takashi politics going on will be totally taken out of the way. That's all what is happening. Crybabies running to their mothers at the Supreme Court, who then put together a partisan panel which features Gaiwu, an MPP parliamentary candidate in the 2016 elections, to come and sit and rule for his MPP cronies from the Supreme Court, bastardize that institution. Then they activate this so-called recall. And I've been asking myself, what really do they think they will achieve with this? This recall. So you need 1/3 to activate the recall. You have that. But when the Speaker calls the House, under Article 104 of this Constitution, if the Speaker takes the role, and the Speaker is certainly going to insist that based on clear provisions under Article 97, clear parliamentary precedents, as I've been reading this morning, the 4 seats are vacant. You know what that means? Under Article 104(1), the MPP side will not have the numbers to take any decision. So the House will be adjourned again sine die. So what are they going to achieve?
What happens to the state?
Because when you do the recall...
What happens to the constitutional, the Supreme Court?
Look at Article 104. Article 104(1) says, except as otherwise provided in this Constitution, matters in Parliament shall be determined by the votes of the majority of members present and voting, with at least half of all the members of Parliament present. The MPP minority side don't have that.
Except otherwise provided. What does it mean?
They don't have that. That's so you continue where the Speaker doesn't have original casting vote, and then 3, where the votes on any motion are equal, it shall be taken to be lost. So there are subclauses, so if in Parliament, if then is equal, the matter is lost. So there are all kinds of provisos. So what are they going to achieve? So this recall, if we don't come, if we boycott, the NDC side boycotts, you won't have the numbers under Article 104 to take a decision.
Why will you boycott?
Why
will you also boycott?
Why shouldn't we?
Because
that is why
you claim you have the majority. You should be comfortable to be in the House.
The Speaker has adjourned the House sine die. The way forward in this matter is for all of these shenanigans, the bastardization of our institutions, how they have subjected the Supreme Court to such utter ridicule. And I listened to the venerable, distinguished Justice Atuguba yesterday say that the Supreme Court should not be invited in this matter at all. And I agree with him. Look at the precedents I've been reading from 2003, 2006 to the Professor Okoye 2021. Who went to the Supreme Court? Who invited the Supreme Court? This has happened simply because of on principle on principled politics, the politics of hypocrisy and double standards, because now it has a bearing on who is majority, who is minority. So let's destroy our institutions. Let's run to partisan judges, former parliamentary candidates, to come to our rescue. And in the process, we are not thinking about this country, the precedents we are setting, and the future for our democratic stability. So look, the only way forward, and I have said that time without number. Do you know that right from December 7, 2020, what President Akufo-Addo should have done after the EC's declaration? You reach out to John Mahama, the opposition leader. Look, we have to appoint speakers for our sides to vote. Who is your candidate? This is my candidate. Let's horse trade. Nicely, maturity. We will have avoided all of that drama. And you know, we came very close to a military takeover. There was no president, no vice president, no speaker of parliament. Soldiers invaded the chamber. You see the implications of political immaturity? I mean, just childishness. We were on the brink. If any of those soldiers had just taken the speaker's chair that night and announced that, look, you politicians, you can't build consensus, you can't work together, we are taking over. It would have been the easiest coup ever. And we will have invited that coup, the political class. So why is it that up to now, coup heads cannot prevail? We cannot just have leadership sit and iron out these things. Do you think that this is the way forward? This is the solution? You think that the speaker is going to allow his authority as the leader of the legislative arm to be undermined? Who is going to align with those partisan decisions by parliamentary candidates sitting on the Supreme Court, Gaiwu and his gang? Who is going to respect that? So where are we going?
They're not a gang. They are Supreme Court.
Where are we going?
They are Supreme Court judges.
Where are we going? I mean, do you see any clear path forward? How does this help the country? So I am totally disgusted. I'm appalled at the lack of leadership, the extent to which reckless political elements will go, with extreme partisanship to destroy our democracy.